Hi everyone, I'm Shauna and welcome to my channel. Today's video is my no-buy update for June. This video is a much more positive one than last month. Last month's video was very necessary, but also a little bit sad. I am happy to report that today's video is much happier and much more positive. I can't wait to share all that with you. The thing I want to say before we get started is I have an interesting project that I would like to ask if there's interest in. I would really love to start a book club with this community. I used to go to a book club before COVID and it has since been shut down, and the new city that I moved to isn't doing book clubs either. And I really love that structure of everybody reading the same book and like really having great conversations about it. And I think that'd be really great for this community. So let me know in the comments down below if you'd be interested in participating in some kind of community led or driven book club. I'm also like really feeling my hair today. Okay, let's get started. Let's talk about what I bought. And there's kind of a lot for this month, more than in the past. I ran out of a couple of things all at once. I did buy a couple of items that I used an allocated budget for, which we'll talk about when we get there. So let's talk about the replacements that I bought first. I'm going to start with the simplest one first. I bought a pencil sharpener. It's just like the Equate brand from Walmart. It was about $2. I don't need my pencil sharpener to be anything special, so it works. I haven't tried it yet, but I do have it, so I get to sharpen my lip liner now. Yay. That's not very exciting. Let's go to the next replacement. So I needed to buy a face wash, and I set a budget for that of like no more than $15, and I was willing to spend the $15, but it would depend on the size. So I ended up buying this one. It's the Neutrogena oil-free acne wash. This one is 269 mils. All of the cleansers that were in the budget all had pumps, every single one of them. So it wasn't really a matter of pump or no pump. Like I probably would have spent a little bit of money to get one without a pump, but that just wasn't in the budget. So this is the one I got. It ended up being $8.98, which was a great price. I was really hoping to stick under 10 for most products if I could. So that was really, I was pleasantly surprised with that. This one has salicylic acid for acne treatment. I have been enjoying that ingredient with my skin, so that's one of the reasons why I bought this particular product. I know there's a lot of opinions out there about like how often you should use like a cleanser with an acid in it. I do have one without, but that one sticks in my like on my sink, and this one is for my shower. So I do like to alternate, so I don't know. So this is my opinion on that. So all of my purchases have been made in the drugstore, which has been conscious. One of the things I realized is that when I was making purchases on things like well.ca or Shoppers Drug Mart, first of all, the prices for both of those are more expensive than like going to Walmart or Superstore or Loblaw, something like that. So automatically the price of the product is more expensive on those websites, but I was also spending more money. Like I would spend the $75 to get bonus points, and I would be looking for things to spend instead of what do I actually need. And that's why I decided to just buy what I needed inside the drugstore and physically go to the drugstore this time around. I haven't gone to the drugstore to buy my products like my skincare in a long time, so it was an interesting experience to kind of like, what's my selection and what are my options, and look at prices and those kinds of things. So I thought I would share that with you. One of the things I do want to share, you know, as we're talking about what I bought and what I spent on it, I do want to say that you should never feel guilty for the budget that you have to spend on whatever you're spending on. That like you should never feel guilty if your budget is $10 for a cleanser or if it's $20 for a night cream. Whatever money you have to spend, like, you should never feel guilty for that because you are spending within your means. I know I've said that before, but I think that's always a really important reminder. And something that I also had to remind myself of is that budgets are fluid, in the sense that while your total monthly spend might be the same or similar month to month, how you play with that money and how that, you know, kind of pans out might vary from one month to another. And how much you have can be very situational. Maybe a year ago you had $50 to spend on a night cream and now you only have $20. But the next time you buy it, your budget might be a little bit different again. And that's okay. I know for me, accepting that is really helpful. Like this is the amount of money I have to spend right now. It might not be forever. I might have less next month, more next month, or the same, and just take it as it comes. The next thing that I bought is a shave cream. I'm pretty sure I talked about that in my Project Pan update, my like all things beauty project. So I did buy a new shave cream, and this is the one that I bought. It's called Glee, and I was debating between this one and then basically the same one I had before, which is the EOS shave cream. And there was only a $1 difference between the two, and the EOS packaging is plastic and it comes with a pump. So I know that the pumps aren't recyclable, and I do try my best to not buy things with a pump. I've had to let go of my rigidness about that for the sake of the budget. But when I have two options here that are $1 apart, and this one is in like an aerosol can, so I wanted to know if that was recyclable. I spent some time in the store looking at my city's like recycling program, and I did find that empty aerosol containers were recyclable or are recyclable. So that's why I decided to go with this one instead of the plastic one. And although I did like the EOS one and I did find it very moisturizing, that was the second time I had owned that product. So it was a repurchase, and on both of the bottles that I had, the pump broke and stopped dispensing pretty early on. So it wasn't super functional, and I guess that is like EOS's way of getting around the aerosol can. So I decided I felt comfortable enough to buy this one because it was recyclable, and I don't know, I like the branding on this, and the scent seemed really nice and something new. I don't buy shave creams all that often. I used it once. It's like a very thick foam. I didn't realize like how much you get after like one squirt, and it's one of those foams that like expands, so you put a little dollop and it just goes. I don't know what that sound effect was. I really enjoyed using it, and I dispensed way too much the first time I used the product, and the second time I was just like the smallest little dollop, and it was great. So that's been kind of a joy. The next product I finished is a night cream. I'm like just about done. I have like a smidge left, and so I bought my night cream. I decided to buy the Aveeno Positively Radiant Intensive Night Cream with vitamin, is that B3 or B12? B3. I haven't used this yet. I have actually really come to love Aveeno products. They've just kind of been like a bit of a sleeper pick. Like, is that what you call it? Not a sleeper pick. There's the texture. I had never really used Aveeno before this year, and then I really liked their products. Like everything that I've tried, I really liked from them. I decided not to rebuy the cleanser that I got from them because it was $15, like maybe $14.99, that was on sale, and you got about 150 mils. So it was more expensive than this, like double the price, and there was about half the product in here. Maybe more like 40% less. So it didn't really make sense to repurchase that for me right now, and I thought it was okay. So, but everything else I've tried from the brand, I've really enjoyed. So I'm kind of stoked to use this. So the makeup product I bought this month is a mascara, and I decided to buy the L'Oreal Telescopic. This was my favorite back in the day, like in high school, even in university. I was a very religious buyer of this product. This was $12.98, and it was on sale. I think it's usually $15.99. I think for the next mascara purchase, like I'll have to wait and see on this, but I might go for something a little bit cheaper. I know that like the Lash Sensational or Lash Sensational is one that I really wanted to use, as well as like I think it's like the CoverGirl Vegan Clean Mascara. That one is also one I wanted to try, and both of those have kind of been on sale. And I'm pretty sure I talked about mascaras of interest previously, but what I decided was like my first purchase, my first mascara purchase, my first one in over a year and a half, by the way. I wanted it to be something that like I really loved, and so I spent the $12.98 on this guy, and it's a little bit more wet than I remembered. I remembered it being drier, and so far I'm not in love with it. Like I loved this, and I even tried out other mascaras and came back to this one and was like, wow, I love it. So I don't know if it's just because this mascara is wet right now, it needs more time to kind of like dry out for it to become its best formula. But if it doesn't, I'd be kind of bummed. I spent like $13 on that mascara and I don't love it. So I'll have to keep you updated in an empties video when I finish this, but I am holding out hope that this will be quite lovely. The next thing I purchased is the Essie Smoothie Base Coat. I completely ran out of my base coat, whereas like it went into the, not the literal garbage, but it went to the empties bin, and I wanted to do my nails, but I had no base coat. So I actually finished something before I repurchased it, which rarely happens, and I was really proud of that. I do in real life love to do my nails. So I bought the base coat, and so that for me was something that was like in the replacements budget that fit. Everything else I'm going to talk about doesn't, and I used some birthday money to buy everything else. And what I bought are nail stuff. I bought 3 pink nail polishes, and honestly y'all, I am like so happy about it. I'll share with you what I got. I've already worn one so far. I did my nails just a couple of days ago, and often after a bright color I like to like switch it up with a light color and then maybe do a bright color the next time and kind of go back and forth. I don't usually like to do bright color after bright color. So the first color I bought is this Sally Hansen color. It's in 497 Happy Days. It's such a beautiful pink. This is the one that I wore, and this is the color I wanted to wear on my birthday, and I did, and it was beautiful. No regrets. And I could see this on like my fingers and my toes. The next color I got is another Sally Hansen. It's their vegan polish in 290 Peony Pink. Sorry, Peony Origins. There we go, Peony Origins. And this one I could see on my both my hands and my toes, but I was like particularly envisioning this on my feet. So I think this is, I haven't put any polish on my toes yet this year, and I think this is going to be the first one. And just, I know, so I do want to compare these colors because they do look a bit similar, but this one is very much darker. And then the third one is this China Glaze. It is in Belle of the Bar. So I kind of obsessed about this for like maybe 2 months. The only pinks that I have, I think it's just 2, and they're like this. They're these like little baby pinks. I do have a few like neutrals, like new colors, and then I have like some reds, but I genuinely don't have any other pinks. I'm gonna actually go get the other comparable colors to show you. Okay, so these are the two little baby pinks that I have. These are actually really different textures, although they are basically the same color. And this one is like super, super milky. And then I have these two. That's kind of it. Everything else in like the nude family. Oh, there's this one that's actually more like a peachy pink. And then the other ones I have, I'll show them, are these nude, nude, white. And then in my other basket, it's all like my bright colors, like my reds, my oranges, those kinds of things. So there's literally nothing in here that is anywhere similar to these three. I initially was going to get two, but I decided on the third one because like pinks is my favorite pinks are my favorite thing to wear. And while these two, in my opinion, are pretty summery, this one in particular, I could wear this one all year round. Like I feel like I could make this choice in December, or I could make this choice in February, March. Like I could see myself wearing this every month. It's much more neutral and seasonless than the other two. I give myself $100 birthday budget to buy kind of whatever is my heart's content, things that maybe weren't the necessities, but things that I felt like would enhance my life in one way or another. So that was the first part. And then the second thing I bought is this like little mini nail kit. It comes with just two items, and I've used them twice, and there's a bit of a learning curve with, I'm not sure what you call these. It's just called a cuticle trimmer or cuticle remover. So that's what this is. And I did I did poke myself all up in my nail. But for the first time, that's kind of not bad. And then there is like the cuticle pusher, and then there's this side as well. I've loved them. The manicure I gave myself with this color was the best my nails had ever looked. I took my sweet time and I applied 2 coats. Like it genuinely looked like I went to a salon, and I'm not the kind of person who has ever produced those kind of results. My nails now don't look that great. I kind of rushed it. So they're not looking super cute, and it's like day 3 at this point. Anyways, so those 2 tools really helped to give me an amazing like at-home manicure. It's kind of changed the game for me, and I really enjoy that time. Like my favorite time to do it is in the evening watching a movie, and adding these 2 tools like does increase the time, especially this. So the last time I did it, it took double the time as normal. I did add in more steps, but I'm also inexperienced with these tools, so it does take longer as it is. And I find the whole thing still relaxing. Like I'm taking time for myself, and like I'm making my nails look good, and I really kind of love it. So I really hope that these colors are like true investments in that, like I'll wear them and love them and get a lot of use out of them. And as I was saying, I spent about like 6 weeks obsessing over what kind of colors to get. I was looking online. I went to the store, like I kid you not, 4 times to like, I took pictures in different lights, and I went to different stores, and then I went home and then like compared the colors to things I already had. And I wanted to get more colors, but I was like, you know what, do you really want to spend more than like $30 on nail polish at this time? No. So I just got the 3, and I'm really happy with that purchase. I wasn't convinced that my money would go to this, like when I was thinking about all of the ways to spend my money. In the last video, I did talk about potentially getting that dress from Banana Republic and also those sandals from Aldo. I did buy all those things and return them. I hated the way that dress looked on me, and the same thing with the sandals. They did not look cute at all. And I'm still on the hunt for some sandals. The last thing I want to show you is the only piece of like clothing in here. And what I decided to do is a new in kind of clothing video to show all the clothing that I bought so far. And my summer wardrobe really needed some attention. I needed tank tops, I needed dresses, and some blouses and shorts. Oh my goodness, shorts. So I still plan on filming a summer capsule, but I really wanted to film a summer capsule like a month ago, but it's taken a lot longer to find the kind of pieces that I've been looking for, and I'm still like, I cannot find plain tank tops anywhere. I've tried on a lot, and everything I've tried so far has been like super form-fitting, and I just want some like loose tank tops and even dresses. I've tried on a ton and I have not found really any that I like. I bought one black dress, which is like the t-shirt dress, and that's been it. And anyways, and I just feel like there's a lot of pieces in there that I think it would just be good to be its own video, and then I can share my thoughts on like what I bought and why, and be a little bit more thorough than in this kind of video. And so I am planning on bringing this like new in video, which is basically like a collective haul of sorts, but hopefully a little bit more beneficial than just here's what I bought and here's the price. And I wanted to let you know now, if you're interested in seeing what I bought and maybe why I bought it, the gaps that I feel like it would fill, you'll know now. I think it should be the next video coming out on my channel, but if you find hauls too triggering, then just stay away. That video does not have to be for you. So I also think the capsule is coming pretty short. It's just later than I expected, but better late than never. The only kind of clothing piece I wanted to show you is something that for me was super necessary. So I'm showing you this item because it was a replacement. So I got these sneakers. I think they are pretty cute. I kind of love them. I got these for $78 with tax. The current sneakers that I was wearing, they were honestly hurting my feet, and I did try alternatives, but nothing was really working. So I got a coupon code for Sport Check, and I got 40% off those shoes, and they were $78. I've worn them a lot. They're just so comfortable, and I do a lot of walking and hiking and just, I guess, yeah. And what I had was not cutting it. I was gonna toss those previous shoes, but my partner and I have been golfing together. Well, he's already been golfing for a couple of years, but I've never been, and we started going together this year. I think we've already been 3 times. So those other shoes are like my driving range shoes, so it works for that. So they're still like, I guess, a place for them, but not to walk around a city in, not to go biking in or hiking in. It was kind of time for these, and this was like such a needed replacement. No. Let's talk about how I'm doing. And I said that this was a more positive and uplifting video because how I feel now and how I've been feeling for the last like maybe week and a half has kind of been in that space. And I could say I haven't had more positive and happy days in the last week than I've had in the last year and a half. Like, I've never had, in all honesty, more than 2 consecutive days where I've just felt like great and me, and we're now on like day 4 or 5. So it's kind of amazing that like I'm doing this well. But I want to talk about kind of maybe how I got here a little bit, and you know how June went and like the transition into this space. And so last month was like, it was truly a roller coaster. In the first couple weeks of June, I was really shaky, and you could see that in the video. I was feeling like so many emotions and really trying to process, and I was just kind of crying a lot. And I can't say that like everything is processed, but like I'm processing it. And even as those things were happening, and I was like kind of feeling the feelings, there were beautiful moments that were happening. In June, I went to the beach with my partner. We went to Center Island. We had like some great walks at the lake shore. I spent more time with my partner's family than I have in the last few years. What I had realized was that I assumed that once I moved, I would feel differently, because I saw my environment as like the biggest problem. It's like I couldn't be my best self because my environment wasn't great. And I was just kind of like trying to live to the next day. Like, how do I get through today? So I thought, once that's gone, like, I'll be fine. I'll be me. Like, things will just be kind of like a new normal. However, that really wasn't the case. And I kind of felt like I wasn't doing any better. There were these moments of time where I was, and I think that I didn't mean to say that there were no changes. My partner did notice. He commented, he was like, Shauna, you seem much more calm and like much more, yeah, I said I was feeling much more calm, and I was doing things that kind of surprised him, like in a good way. And he gave me some examples. So there were times like that, and I can't say I was overall more calm. I think that's true. Because I was so anxious, and my baseline was just anxiety and stress, that I didn't see that. I didn't feel myself feeling that way. It almost became white noise. So that was kind of lifted, and all the negative thoughts and things that I was being told all the time, like, those were gone. My environment, like, while it was a big trigger in how I was feeling, it wasn't the only thing, and I hadn't changed my own behavior. And what made me realize this was that on my birthday last year, which was a year ago, so on my birthday last year, I vividly remember my partner and I walking along the lakeshore, and I was like, that was the time just shortly before I told my partner how I was really feeling and how I was really doing, that I needed help. And we talked about like my goals and how I wanted to change and what I wanted to change and what I saw for myself this year. And I thought back to that moment, and I realized that nothing had changed. I wasn't doing any better, like emotionally or even really physically. I wasn't, or mentally. I hadn't really changed my behaviors in a year. When I had like made this grand statement and I felt like things were going to change, but I never did. I wasn't doing anything. Like, I was basically like laying in bed watching TV every day. There would be moments where like I would go biking, I would go walking, I would go with my partner, but that wasn't most of the day. And I wasn't addressing how I was feeling, and I wasn't making any tangible steps to change. Seeking help is one thing, but if you do nothing but that's a step. At least for me, it was like, how do I implement these changes? If you just go get your help and then go back to your bed and like kind of wallow, there's almost like a disconnect. It's like you want help, but you're not willing to do the work, I guess. So I realized that I wasn't doing anything to change how I was feeling and how I was doing. For a lot of people, they have to go to work. Like, you physically have to go into your workplace, or you have to have like online meetings and check in with your bosses or whatever, your superiors. You have to get out of bed to do your work, to make your money. And like I'm self-employed in a way, and I have been for the last 5 years. Like, I'm very good at being self-directed and having self-directed learning, because that's been my reality for the last 5 years. And in the summertime, grad students, at least my experience has been, you don't really do a lot with your supervisors, and it's basically 4 months to like do what you need to do, and then you kind of come back and touch base in September. But I have been dragging my feet, and I have not wanted to work, not because of like unwillingness or laziness, but because of something else. And I came to the realization before I moved, like, I accepted the fact that I don't want to do history for the rest of my life. And so when you don't want to, like, this isn't the thing you want to do, it was like, I can't do this work. Like, I don't know how to describe the feeling, but I just like couldn't do the work. And a lot of people were telling me, like, Shauna, have you really given this work your best shot? Have you gone into the research? Have you made a real attempt? And I could say no, that I've made some attempts. They've been kind of half-hearted. I've done a lot of secondary source research. I've done some primary source research, but I feel like I know myself enough to know that, like, to know how I'm feeling. And I've felt this way for over a year now. And it's not as though I'm incapable of doing work, because I've transitioned to something else. I've transitioned to doing alternative work, and I can get out of bed like that and jump right into it. But when it comes to history, I'm like that's how I feel about it. I actually was thinking I wasn't going to talk about this decision until actual decisions have been made, or I thought maybe I'd make a video about it. But ultimately, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make any grand pronouncements to the world. And I kind of felt like this video would be like the place to do it, because some of you care how I'm doing, some of you don't. Like, some of you are here just for the content and not for the lifiness or like the life updates, which is fine. Like, it's you don't have to be here for everything. It's not an all or nothing kind of channel. So I kind of felt like if I put this near the end of the video, those who like care will watch, and those who don't will pass over it. And it's been distressing knowing that I feel like I've wasted the last 9 years chasing something that I thought I wanted to do that I didn't, but also knowing you're doing something you don't want to do, but not knowing what you actually want to do. And I was feeling really panicky and distressed for like a week and a half. It was just like, it was a lot. So I have some ideas about what I want to do. And I'm spending the rest of the summer devoted to kind of following some of those ideas and doing some real experimentation and just kind of, exploration. So that's kind of it for now on that front, how much I want to say about that. It feels like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders, because while I've had these thoughts for a while, and by a while I mean a literal year, I now feel like acknowledging it. I wasn't acknowledging it. It was like, I don't feel like this is a thing for me, or I don't like this, but I wasn't accepting the fact that, no, Shauna, this is not the thing I want to do for the rest of my life. And I felt like I had to keep going and I had to make it work, in part because my idea of success was firmly attached to academia and my own intelligence. And it felt like in my mind, doing anything other than something intellectual was like being a failure, or like not living up to my potential, or like not being a good human, like not being good enough. And I've lived in academia where like your self-worth is your intelligence. So if you're not doing something intellectual or academic, then like you're not smart. But then it's just like, who kind of cares about that? Like, in other fields, people don't care about your interpretation of Foucault and like what you think about, like, it's just not like that. I also felt like I had to have answers right away. Like, this is not what I want to do, so give me the next thing. Like, just somebody tell me what I'm gonna do and I'm gonna do it. And it's that not knowing that's kind of freaky. But now I feel kind of empowered, because I kind of get to choose whatever I want. I think it takes a lot of courage to know that you need to make a change and then to make it. And I don't think a lot of people can make that choice, because some people want to stay in that safety. And I know people like that in my own lives who are doing jobs that they genuinely hate doing because they're too scared to do something else. And I don't think I know that as you get older, it can be about time, and it can be about putting in that work. You know, I've heard people say like, I'm 50, I can't go back to school, or like, I'm 40, I can't X. And I'm not trying to say that people don't understand their own limitations, not at all. But I think, at least for the couple of examples of people that I'm thinking of, I know that part of why they haven't made that decision is fear, and they were too attached to that comfortability of, this is what I have and I don't want to lose it. Like, I know what's going to happen to me if I stay in this job for 10 years. I don't know what's going to happen if I change jobs. Where am I going to be at in 5 or 10 years? And so I feel like I need to thank myself for being like self-aware and having the courage to do what needed to be done. You know, there's a chance in this process I spent a few months kind of figuring things out and doing some experimentation and talking to people. Maybe in 2 months, I'm like, you know what, Shauna, you were so wrong. History is the thing for you. And this is what helped me realize that is where my passion lies. I don't really feel like that's going to be the case. But if it is, I can admit to being wrong, and I would happily be wrong. But if there's something else out there, I feel like I owe it to myself to like chase it and to find it and to kind of live up to my highest potential. My partner has been like hugely instrumental in helping me think about fulfilling my potential and like not thinking small and thinking about like how could I fulfill my potential, and how could I like service the world in the best way that I can. And the last thing I kind of want to say about this like how I'm doing situation is that for a long time I was wallowing, and I kind of felt like things were happening to me and life was distressing. I was feeling sorry for myself, and so it feels like, yes, shit happened. I didn't plan to move, but there's so much goodness in that fact. And quite frankly, I don't think I could have accepted some of these things that I've accepted about myself if I hadn't moved. And it's a privilege. It's a true privilege to live by myself. And I feel like I really have the opportunity to flourish as a person here. And ultimately, what happens in this space, that's on me. Before, yes, there were real shitholes in my life, real toxicity, and literally all of those have been removed. I'm literally in the best space to flourish. That's what I want to say, to flourish. And ultimately, if I do or I don't, that's on me. There are no more excuses. There's nothing holding me back except for me. And so what happens here, that's up to me. And I think that that's kind of scary, but also empowering, that I have the choice, and like the choice is up to me and only me. And I literally only have people in my life right now who are willing to like go to the mat for me, who are willing to help me, and who are willing to inspire me and push me and say, Shauna, you are good enough. Do what you need to do. How can I help you? Let me help you. These are the people who I have in my life now. And that's beautiful. And that's so beautiful. And so if I wallow or I don't thrive, that's on me. Thriving is my choice. And right now, that's a choice. It's also like, it's unfortunate that I don't know what I want to do with my life, you know, and that it's also unfortunate I spent 9 years working towards a career that I don't actually want. But it's also a blessing that it happened now and not 10 more years from now, that it happened at this juncture in time. And that like, I'm young, I'm 27, I'm young, like I have so much life ahead of me. I do still have limiting beliefs, and not every day is perfect, but I'm in the best place to make these changes and like work for it and thrive. And that makes me feel like really blessed, really grateful, but also ready to work. And I'm kind of like re-inspired to do what I need to do. And I think that's just a really positive place to leave the video, because like I'm doing well and I'm happy I got to share that. So before we go, I would really love it if you would leave your thoughts about a book club in the comments down below. And if you like content like this, no buy content, talking about our purchases, being thoughtful with our shopping habits, but also if you like fashion and lifestyle content, capsule wardrobes, things like that, I would really love to have you here, and I hope you subscribe. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again around here soon. Bye.